Hi everybody. Hey, I thought I'd get on and do my live tonight. Usually I do it Sunday night, but I will be on an airplane flying home. So obviously I won't be able to do it then. But sorry there's not very much lighting, but you don't need to see me anyways. You can just listen. I thought I'd come on and talk about building trust, and I'm not quite sure how many people out there, I would assume probably quite a few people really struggle with trusting others, trusting themselves, being able to let down fears, and just be willing to trust people. As some of you know, like from the previous lives I've done and stuff, I have really had kind of a tough life. And so because of that tough and traumatic life that I've had, it's really wired my brain to not trust. And so, from incidents with school and friends, guys that I dated, things that happened to me with the sexual abuse when I was a kid and stuff like that, really taught my mind psychologically that you can't trust somebody, and that if you start building happiness or receive happiness, that something's going to take that happiness right away, because that's what always happened to me as I was growing up. I would start getting excited and love something or love someone, and then something bad would happen to take it away or to inflict pain. Well, I was thinking about it today, this subject, and how it's one of my most biggest faults or flaws that I don't like about myself, is not being able to willingly trust. Yes, I know sometimes it's good to be, cautious. I'm not saying not to be cautious, but when you live a full life of not allowing yourself to be open and free to enjoying yourself in life, or it sabotages relationships and things like that, makes it super difficult to be able to have relationships with friends, family, or significant others or whatever. And so growing up through life, a lot of the time I would actually sabotage relationships, not on a purpose thing to hurt anybody, but it was like a protective mechanism for myself, that if I pulled away from this person before they could hurt me, then I won't get hurt by it. But then in the ending, like, what ends up happening? You end up having pain from it, of losing the person because I don't want to put up with that, or whatever it might be. So today, my friend and I are here for our business trip in Florida. We just got done with a cruise and are just kind of spending some time in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. But one of my fears was going on a cruise. Everybody talked about how fun it was, how exciting it is, how they're addicting. After you get on it, you don't want to stop. Well, all my friends, a lot of them had been on cruises, and it was kind of tempting for me. I was thinking, you know what? This is something that everybody's doing. I should do it too. But that trust and that fear set in of like, well, if I go on a cruise, it's going to end up sinking. And, and then you hear on the news how the Carnival had the plumbing leak all over the cruise. And I just conjured up all these fears and thoughts in my mind, like, there's no way that I'd want to get on something. Or what if I couldn't get back on the ship and I couldn't get back home? Yes, I know. I have lots of anxieties and lots of fears that I've conjured up throughout the years. And I haven't helped myself in any way of overcoming them. I've just allowed myself to just kind of sit in them and miss out on a lot of things in life. And that fear also ends up setting in with us and makes it to where we don't trust things, trust the system, trust the things that are happening in life or people or whatever. So it really does, I've learned, rob us of a lot of excitement and happiness. And we can't really control what happens to us. We can only control how we respond to things. So what good does it do us to, just kind of sit back and and keep ourselves from, trusting others or trusting things in life. So anyways, like, when I found out that I earned this cruise and everything, I was thinking in my mind, like, okay, I don't know if I can do this. Like, maybe I should just turn it down. And then the other part of me is like, you shouldn't, because this is paid for. Why not go on it? So I was like, okay. So I planned for it, and luckily, I had an accountability partner, and my friend Nikki was like, you know what, we're going to do this. We're going to go on it, and everything's going to be fine. Well, there was many, many different instances where I had to learn to trust people, learn to trust things. First of all was like learning how to trust my friend Nikki. Like, I've never really trusted a friend before, because I've always been hurt by friends, and bad mouth, and bad things have happened from being close to people. And so that was a huge thing. Like, okay, my friend Nikki's telling me everything's gonna be okay, we're gonna have fun. Another part of me is thinking, I might get left out, I might not be around friends and feel uncomfortable, and there's all these things going through my mind. So I learned how to put trust in around that, thinking, okay, if somebody I really care about is telling me that this is going to be fun, I might as well do it. So I bypassed that and was able to kind of take that first step forward. And we had a dang good time. Like, seriously, this has been one of the most funnest trips I have ever been on. So I was able to, like, the relationship between my friend and I, Nikki, has really gotten close, because I've allowed myself to believe first that she's not going to hurt me. She's not going to be one of those friends that's a fair weather friend that says they'll do one thing and then they do another, or a one-sided friendship where you give everything you have and they give nothing back. And so I've been really lucky for that. So then as we got off the cruise and everything, I'm like, I can do hard things. Like, I just trusted the captain on the ship that she was gonna know how to run the ship and we wouldn't drown, and I didn't drown. And so I'm like, maybe trusting the system, I can experience happiness and things like that because I allowed myself to trust a little bit. So then as we've gone further on the trip, another one of my big fears, man, you guys are gonna know so much about me. I'm a very open person, as you can see. But that's how you know that I'm very real. I'm not a fake person in any shape or form. So then she's like, okay, are we gonna go swimming in the ocean? And I was like, oh, there's gonna be sharks in there. And I have done myself no good by watching tons of scary shark shows and things like that where they eat people. And anyways, so I'm like, okay, do another thing. We'll just trust that everything's gonna be okay. And I go in the water and I'm wading in it a little bit, and I'm starting to get freaked out, start to look down and everything. I'm really looking for things to be scared of, and that's another thing. That's another sabotage technique that we use to, in a way, protect ourselves from being harmed or hurt. And I've learned throughout this trip, like, a lot of people end up putting those barriers and those walls because nobody likes pain, obviously, right? Who likes to be hurt? And I thought about that. That is the reason why I have a hard time trusting on anything. Trusting the ocean, trusting a friend, trusting a family member, trusting a husband, anything like that. I'm afraid that when I can think of all these stories in my mind of the type of pain it can inflict on me, whether it's breaking my heart or making me cry or physical pain of getting cut or something like that, it stops me from allowing myself to be open and try new things. So more and more throughout the trip, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try some more new things. So I've always hated fish, and Nikki and I were trying to find a place to eat, and Red Lobster came up, and I'm like, ugh, like crab and lobster and all that stuff, and like, that's so gross. She's like, how do you know if you like it if you've never tried it? And I was like, well, I've never really liked fish as a kid. She's like, maybe it's time to try it. So I'm like, all right, well, I've already done da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I might as well. So we went, I ended up getting really brave and ordering crab and a steak and stuff, and I ended up absolutely loving it. And I was like, okay, here's another thing. If you keep yourself from trying things you've never done before, you're never going to know if you like them or if they make you happy or if you're going to enjoy it. So all these years, I've ended up going without all these different things when I could have enjoyed them all these years. So then another thing, now this is a really, really big thing, okay? So I ended up going in the ocean. I ended up getting all the way up to my shoulders, and we had a blast. We had so much fun in the ocean. Then today I was like, okay, I'm going to get really, really gutsy. And I was like, and I think I surprised Nikki at it. We were just laying there and we're like, okay, what are we going to do today? And I said, well, how about we go see alligators? And she's like, you're kidding, right? Because she knows how freaked out I am about reptiles and anything creepy crawly and bugs and spiders and you name it. I'm just a scaredy cat, I guess. And I ended up, we ended up looking it up, and I had no idea what it was going to be like or what it was going to, how close we were going to get to these alligators and stuff. And we ended up driving out, and here I start having a panic attack. I'm like, oh my gosh, I so can't do this. This is going to terrify me. This is going to scare me. And she's laughing her head off, and these people are like teasing us. And it kind of, relaxed me a little bit to know that other people were going to go on this boat and see alligators with us. And so we're standing there waiting, and I'm trying to calm myself down from this panic attack. And I started thinking, you know what? Like, why am I scared about this? Why am I letting this be such a huge fear with myself? Because they would not be having people do this if this killed people. Like, if people were constantly getting hurt, they would shut these type of things down. Why can't I trust the people that are taking us out on this boat? Why can't I trust Nikki and saying everything's going to be fine? And why can't I just be as calm as her? And I thought, and it put some comfort and some ease with me. And I tell you guys, I have never felt that feeling before. I've always been just like kind of high tense and worried about, well, I'm going to get hurt, or this is going to happen. And the older and older I got, the more and more fears I've occurred, which is crazy because as a kid, I think I used to do quite a bit of things thinking I was invincible. And as I've gotten older with more responsibility and having a family, it's kind of made me, I guess, more careful. Because I have a lot more relying on me now. But anyway, so we got on the boat, we started driving and everything, and I started realizing we're fine, we're great. I'm talking myself through. We can. Anyway, so long and short of it is I ended up getting through that, and it was so much fun. I wanted to go on it again. Of course we didn't, but then we started walking through the exhibits and everything, and the guy says, hey, does anybody want to come and hold an alligator? And I didn't even think twice of it. I was like, you know what? I went out on a boat, and I trusted these guys to take care of us and keep us safe. That's not going to hurt me holding an alligator if this guy is offering for us to do it. We're not going to get hurt. So I was able to put trust in that. I ended up loving it, which is nuts, but ended up loving it. So anyways, throughout this trip, it has seriously been an eye-opener to me in many, many ways. And I'm excited for when I go home, I'm going to be able to kind of look at things a little bit different. I've been going to counseling for a while, and my counselors helped me quite a bit on reconnecting and figuring out how to trust people again. But I'm realizing that this is something that I really, really, really want to fully overcome, because I've learned I've missed out on so much for not being able to trust. And I want to say that this is something that I hope you guys can think about too, because as I've been kind of observing people too, we've been walking a lot, we've been around thousands of different people. The culture here is completely different from what it is in Utah and what I've been used to. I mean, I've always lived in Utah, and so it's always been the same way. And so being around different cultures, different people, different settings, we've gone through really, really scary things down here too. And And I've realized that everything ends up turning out okay. And if it doesn't, how do we respond? Like, are we going to allow ourselves to be disabled and not be willing to try anything different, to not meet new people? Many years, because I had so many bad experiences, we also attract what type of energy we put out there. So my mind frame and the way I thought and felt about people in general was negative. I figured, oh, I've been hurt so many times, I'm just not going to reach out to people. So I already had it in my mind when we moved into this house that we're in, that I wasn't going to meet anybody. I wasn't going to open up to anybody because I had some bad experiences and I didn't want that to happen again. And so Jake and I were like, we're just going to start new and fresh, and that way we won't get hurt, nothing bad will happen. Well, we've been there 4.5 years, almost 5 years, and by now we should have, ended up meeting a lot of people and becoming close and stuff. Well, the thing that's made me start open up and stuff is my job. And unfortunately, I'm sure it probably makes people out there think that the reason why I'm opening up to them now is because I, want a sale or something like that. But in general, I would have to say, not to talk about my business, but I would have to say that has been a really big eye-opener for me. It has helped me be able to get to know people and to realize that I'm a normal person, that my fears and my struggles of not trusting or having anxiety about things, that pretty much every single person out there in the world has had some sort of an experience where it has kind of traumatized them or upset them or hurt them to make them not want to try new things or to meet new people and things like that. People can be really closed off. And so doing this type of business where I have to learn how to communicate and respond and react to people, I've got to freaking learn how to trust, because otherwise that's going to be a really tough business to be in when you're around people all the time. Not only that, but it really messes up the structure of relationships and the happiness that you're missing out on if you don't learn how to trust and overcome fears. It's been a huge adjustment for my husband, because he's been super used to me putting boundaries on myself and building up these big, thick walls that I've not allowed anybody to be a part of or be into. And so it's kind of altered our relationship from where it could have been, 14 years ago. And so it's taken us to get some counseling in order for us to be able to kind of be closer to the relationship that I've always dreamt of. And I've wasted 14 years of not allowing myself to trust him, when yet he's never done not even a crumb or a single thing to me for me not to trust. I can only imagine the friendships that I've missed out throughout the years too, because of the boundaries and the expectations, too high of expectations, where friends have gotten to the point where they're like, well, I can't meet the expectations of what Lisa's needing or wanting. And so they end up giving up trying because they feel like the bar has been set too high for them. So in all reality, in every aspect of my life, I've missed out on a lot. And I can sit here and I can boo-hoo about the things that I've missed out on because of my inability to trust and to allow people to love me and care about me, be there for me as well as me for them. There's a whole new world of happiness and joy and excitement that you can have when you allow yourselves to trust again. Now, you could have gone through the most horrendous traumatic thing and just think that, for the longest time I allowed myself to be a victim, okay? As I've said again, I'm an advocate of sexual abuse because I had it happen for so long. But I've also thought, you know what? I'm done being the victim. I'm done being the person that's the poor me, and worrying about woulda, coulda, shoulda if this is going to happen. And I've started allowing myself to branch out and do scary things. And the feeling and the excitement that comes from allowing yourself to do scary and hard things, it's empowering, and it can really, really, really make you feel confident and strong, successful, build your self-esteem. Oh man, it's a big self-esteem booster. And how many of us out there could benefit from being able to do these things and work on these things. But this is going to be something that I think when I go home from this trip and everything, it's going to be something I write stuff down on and choose what type of things I want to overcome, how I want to empower myself, what I can do to get myself there. And if bad things happen, then bad things happen. But it's what we do and how we respond to it that makes it to where it can make or break us. You're going to respond to it negatively and pull yourself away and shut yourself off from the world. You're not doing yourself any good, as I can say, because that's all I've ever done all these years. Or allow yourself that, you possibly might get hurt. You possibly might have painful things happen that may seem like they're unforgivable or damaging. But to know that we can overcome anything that we go through and anything that happens with just loving ourselves and learning how to love others, because you have some people out here that are super ornery and mean, and Nikki and I thought it would be kind of funny just to be kind and loving to them anyways. And the look that you get on people's faces when they're expecting you to flip them off or swear at them or yell at them or something, and instead we just look at them, we smile, we're willing to help them out with this, that, or the other, and it totally changes their attitude because it allows people to trust you. And when you can allow people to trust you, makes it a little bit easier to trust others and be able to build a relationship with everyone out there. And that's what this world needs. If there was more of it, I think it wouldn't be as hard for us to put trust in others. So anyways, I thought that I could, talk about something like that, because being around people on a daily basis, and more so on this trip, I'm learning a lot about myself, and I'm learning a lot about others, and learned a lot about Nikki, and and it's just been an amazing experience and an event. But even when responsibility hits me again, when I come home and I gotta be a mom again and be a wife again and work and and do the usual things that we do on a daily basis, I can't allow myself to slide back into that, I guess, hard, easy way of living, of not trusting and not allowing myself to be open for change and new things and trying hard and scary things. But go for it. You do it too. You let me know how it goes for you. Have a good night, guys.